Hello again. Let's make this a just saying. So let's think about all the joys that lockdown has brought us. Hasn't it just been a pleasure? Now, isolating away from each other, I'm sure that that has helped spread many things such as flu. So that's a good thing. I think if you feel ill, always protect your fellow human. Stay away. Always wash your hands. Always be considerate. What else has lockdown brought us other than this increased interest in personal hygiene and the hygiene and habits of others? Well, what it's actually done, and I've spoken about this probably at the start of last year, but what it's actually done is brought isolation and extra vulnerability to people, because they are trapped, they are captured with abusers, and these people might be parents, elderly parents, it could be young children, teenagers, could be wives, could even be husbands, could be any type of relationship between human beings, okay? And animals, by the way. So don't. What I want to discuss further than just saying, hey, you know, are you okay, isn't just for that day in September. It's for every day. If you see something, or if you don't see something, like if you don't see someone, speak up, inquire. This isn't the same as dobbing on someone because you're an asshole and you see someone walking a pet and they're not wearing a mask. Mind your own damn business. But this is about being aware that in lockdowns, abused people are trapped with abusers. And I'm speaking up specifically now, again, because of Orson and Orrin Wells, who were named at their birth by their biological mother, Sincere and Classic. And these little boys have suffered along with many others during this pandemic. And why? Because it has allowed people to make excuses for the lack of care and for their abuse. You're not seeing my child because pandemic. My child isn't playing, having fun. Pandemic. My child can be in any state now, can't he? Starved, neglected, broken, dishevelled, sad, desperate, lonely, yearning for the care that they deserve. Now, this brings me to another point. Foster care and adoptions. What is this goddamn bias that seems to be in full flight every time some child is placed into care? Is it just because someone put their hand up that they are God's gift? Someone's putting their hand up for this child. We're not going to do the relevant background checks, character checks, personality tests. We're not going to ensure that they are going into a safer environment from the one that we are tearing them out of. Okay? Are we using the same judgments, the same testing measures on these foster parents, on these adopters, as we do on biological parents? Are we giving biological parents the support we need? This is saying, yes, keeping these children safe. If it is at all possible to safely allow children to live with their biological parents, this is best. They are safer with a biological parent without someone that is not related to them, that is in their home, having access to them or having responsibility for them. What is this bias? And it makes me wonder, wow, this bias sometimes seems so powerful within people, because, I mean, is it just these rose-colored glasses and this dangerous skew, this unintentional misperception about human beings? Is it something else? Is it sinister? Is it dark? Why do people go into social work? Well, do they go in because they can get hired there, because we always need people working in social services, and they can get a good government job and they will have a great job, sometimes working under a lot of pressure? Yes, but it can depend on the person and how they operate. And are they there? A lot of people, that they go into these roles because, well, they might have had a disturbed childhood themselves. I want to help people. Well, do you know what else abusers do? Abuse. And is there, on some conscious or subconscious level, is there sometimes this actual cruelty? Is there sometimes this lack of care and just this frivolous shuffling of children? Because someone making these decisions might have been through the system themselves. They were hurt, they were abused, they were discarded, they feel, and they had a shit fucking time. And then when they came of age, they were just spat out onto the street with no support, if they hadn't managed to run away already. And so what have they done after they think they've gone through this series of healing? They're going to be a social worker. They're going to make a difference. Well, are you? Are you? Now, you shouldn't be just looking at your numbers on a board, because this is what happens. People in these services, providing these services, these organisations, they are relying on funding, and this funding is relying on the numbers on the board, and their clients are numbers. Now, this is not everyone, but this happens, and these are the children that are suffering, forgotten, damaged, and dead. Okay, so let's look at the bias. First, let's look at the bias that is at play here when it comes to judgment and judging. Why children? What are the parameters around a child being taken? Is it valid? Is there some other option? Family members, other family members, a support network within a gene pool, is that fully explored? And what are these background checks? Because when you have mofos and scumbags like a certain family that we know of and watch at the moment, being given a great gift and responsibility of young, innocent children who only need tender, loving care, shelter, food, water, discipline, security, affection, tenderness, someone to listen, somewhere safe. This is all they need. Doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be genuine, sincere. So what are people's motives? What is it that these judgments are based on when families, people are deigned to be a better caregiver than the biological family, extended family? This is happening all the time. People are raped, people are murdered, people are mistreated because they're not family. And over again, children are placed into danger. They're placed and they're moved around, shuffled around like they are just a piece of luggage or whatever. Okay, so just saying, let's look at the bias and let's look at the motivation on both sides.